Welcome to Healthy E-Rider, your number one guide to e-rider health and safety. I'm your host, Dr. Ram, and today we're going to be taking a look at my painful e-bike crash and how you can avoid this common beginner's mistake. Before we get started, don't forget to hit that subscribe button below for more videos like this. So let's paint a quick picture of what led up to this. I'm leaving my brother's restaurant. I started the day recording some quick, informal speed tests that I recorded from my last video where I did a full walk around of my brand new 15,000 watt Bomber e-bike. Not so brand new right now, as you'll soon see. Check out the link above if you haven't seen that yet. So I had an amazing ride after doing those speed tests, just zipping around town and ending it with my brother finally riding my e-bike around the restaurant parking lot. From there, I was heading home really happy with the ride for the day. So I'm on the road and decided to get into a little bike path that I usually take when I'm heading out. It's nice and tucked away along the woods and just a fun little strip to ride along. I get off the main road and enter the path about 13 miles an hour. I then come to this sharp right turn, and that's where I lost control of the bike and fell to the ground. I got back up sort of stunned. I was fine as far as I could tell at that point, and then I started checking the bike for damage. I'm going to cover the damages here. If you don't want to hear about this part, skip ahead to the crash analysis. So I fell on my right side, so everything that was damaged was on the right side of the bike and my gear. I'll show pictures of my gear later on. My phone mount had gotten dislodged from the impact. My right mirror was slightly damaged, but I purposely leave it slightly loose in case I hit something so it doesn't get smashed. My right grip was damaged down to the handlebar. My right pedal was also really grazed out. So at this point I'm like, okay, derailleur, a little bit of the mirror, the handlebar, and the right pedal is damaged. Not too bad if that's the extent of it. Definitely could have been much worse, and I could have been really hurt and even unable to get up. So I get back on my bike so I can get home, and then I'll get everything fully assessed. I go to pedal the bike and realize my pedal is somehow stuck. I get back off the bike and realize that my right crank arm is bent and it isn't clearing the chassis of the bike. So I definitely can't use the pedals on my way home. I get back on the bike, on the road, and realize that my handlebar is completely out of line with my front wheel. So I pull off and try to adjust it a little because I don't want my steering to be off while I'm riding home. No more accidents for me today. That's all the damage to the bike. The bike didn't get away unscathed, but it also isn't the worst case scenario by any means, so I'm very grateful for that. Let's go over the crash itself, and then I'm going to talk about how my gear absolutely saved my behind and how it will save yours too in the event of an accident. So it's clear that I did not slow down enough when entering this turn. If you slow the footage down, you'll see I'm decelerating from 13 miles an hour to 11 miles an hour as I enter the turn. I honestly didn't realize I was going that fast. That was my first mistake. My second mistake is directly related to my first mistake, and that is that I didn't brake enough before entering the turn. If you take a close look at my fingers, both of my hands are on the brakes. Then for some reason, I let my right hand off the front brake, but my left hand is still engaging the rear brake. So I'm still braking during the turn. This is not something you want to do unless absolutely necessary. And in this case, none of this was necessary. It was just me on a clear bike path. There was no reason not to have control over my speed or to have to use emergency braking during the turn. Finally, my third biggest mistake, and probably the biggest contributing factor in this fall, is that I ended up riding onto the grass. Of course, this is because I did not have control over my speed before entering the turn. After my fall, I realized the grass is wet and muddy. My front wheel cleared it fine, but as soon as my rear wheel made contact with the grass, I lost traction and fell. So now that we covered the 3 main mistakes that led to my fall, let's discuss how I will address these mistakes in the future to do my best to avoid falling like this again. I will have control over my speed before entering a turn. I'll do this by straightening the bike and applying both brakes evenly and smoothly until I achieve the desired speed and I feel that I'm in full control of the bike. I will release the brakes during the actual turn, and I also will not apply the throttle until the turn is complete. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. But because it all happened so fast, it's absolutely worth it in retrospect to dig up the riding footage if you're fortunate enough to have it rolling during the event, so that you can learn objectively from your mistakes. You can't always rely on your memory recall, but the footage never lies. As you saw in the video, I fell onto my right side. Fortunately, my bike fell away from me and didn't land on my legs or anything like that. When I landed, the right handlebar received the initial impact, then my wrist, elbow, and hip in that order. You can see me shaking off the dirt from my right glove. So first of all, having a full gauntlet glove absolutely saved me from injuring my wrist from impact and abrasion. There's no question about it. My riding jacket had a few holes in it from sliding against the ground. Had my jacket not been there, it would have been my skin that got ripped off. You can also see here that my entire right leg slid against the ground. Had I not been wearing those abrasion resistance pants, it would have most likely been my regular pants and probably also the skin underneath. And finally, my right hip protector absorbed a significant amount of force after my wrist received the initial shock. It's possible that had I not been wearing full gear, I would have had at least skin lacerations and bruising, and much worse, I would have fractured my forearm and hip. So I hope you guys will take my mistakes and learn from them. Brake well before you enter a turn and make sure you already have control over your speed. Watch out for slippery surfaces. As they say, it's not a matter of if you'll fall, it's a matter of when. In that case, it's best to wear proper gear and walk away unharmed, as I was fortunate enough to do that day. So have you had a painful e-bike crash? If so, what happened? Share your story in the comments below. Thank you for watching this episode of Healthy E-Rider. I hope you enjoyed this video showing you my painful e-bike crash and how you can avoid a common beginner's mistake that I made. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button below for more videos like this. Remember our mission as Healthy E-Riders. Live to ride another day. I'll see you in the next one, guys. Peace.